Hello, everybody. We are looking at topic 6.2 today, making inferences about some data. So what we are looking at is topic 6.1. We talked about collecting sample data, and we are going to take that sample data, we're going to graph it, because it's impossible to take data from an entire population and graph it. So this graph is a representative sample of a certain population of something. And what we're going to look at is this data and make some inferences about it. An inference is a conclusion made by interpreting data. So we want to use some methods that are based on numbers. For example, we want to use the mean, median, mode to help us with that. We also want to look at some clusters. Now, a cluster would mean like this. Where is a majority of our data gathered? So we could say, if we're looking at clusters on this first one, it would be between 9 and 9.5. Now, clustering can also be kind of difficult to choose, because you could also say this cluster is from 8.5 to 10, because that's where the majority of the numbers are gathered around. So it's kind of left up to interpretation. You got to be careful with clusters, okay? We have on your homework, though, you have a question on clustering, and it's kind of easy because there's some gaps, and you'll be able to tell where the cluster works on that. So what we have here is Sasha displays the data that she collected on a dot plot. So she asked a bunch of people how much sleep they're getting per night. And let's start by identifying what is the average, the mean. So this is a dot plot, and how you calculate the mean, the average, is you have to add all these dots up. So this dot represents an 8. So we're going to go 8 plus the next dot is 8.5 plus another 8.5, because I have another dot on that 8.5, plus an 8 3/4, because I got another dot there, plus another 8 3/4, plus another 8 3/4, because I got 3 of those, and then 9 and 9 and 9, and I will keep doing that until I add all those dots up. Then I'm going to take all of those, add them all up, and divide by however many dots there are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. She asked 25 people. So we're going to divide it by 25. All right, add them all up, divide by 25. That is the average. And so we would say the average, the mean, is whatever we get on that. All right. So we've got a cluster that would be in this range. We calculated the mean, the average, by adding them all up and dividing by however many there are. The mode is which one has the most dots. So this would be the mode right here. It is the one that has the most data. All right. So then we're going to make some inferences about this. You could say, half of the people get anywhere from 9 to 9.5 hours of sleep a night. Okay, that's the conclusion that she got from that. Majority of the people are getting more than 8 hours of sleep. So they're getting plenty of sleep. We want to make sure that all of our inferences are valid, which means that your data supports your inference. Data supports it. That's why we're using the mean, median, and mode to help support our inference. Okay? So here's another dot plot. And Sasha's friend did another one where his data was the mean was about 9 hours and 16 minutes is what he calculated when he did it all. Now we also got box and whisker plots. A box and whisker plot does not show us, and we cannot calculate the mean. It is impossible to calculate the mean on this because it doesn't show us individual data points. It just shows us how the whole set of data is graphed. So we know that according to Margot's data on a box and whisker, that the smallest number is 8.5. So her data ranges anywhere from 8.5 to 10 hours. This is the smallest data point, and this is the largest data point. What it tells us is that it'll tell us the median, the middle number. Okay? The median is that line right there in the middle of our box. We'll get into more of these later when we start talking about creating and making comparative inferences. Okay, but just understand that this shows us the range of the data and the median, and it tells us kind of how the data is clustered together more than individual data points like the line plots. And then that's what this shows you right there. So these notes will be in Google Classroom for you to look at as you're doing your homework. There's one question on your homework that I want to go over with you, because what we have to do on this is sometimes we have to use ratios and proportions to help us answer questions based on data that we've collected. So this is question number, it does not show me right there. Get rid of the hiding. It's question number 3 on your homework. Okay, they collected some, caught some squirrels. They marked them so then they could check, the patterns of whatever they're doing. Later, they collected 97 squirrels, and found that 33 were tagged. So what we're going to do is we're going to say the ratio of 33 out of 97 were tagged. That's equals to how many would we expect 114 to be out of the total. Okay, so what we would have to do is go 33 divided by 97. I believe that gives us like 34%, 0.34. So we divided right there. So we want to divide again. 114 divided by 0.34. Let me check my numbers on this to make sure they are correct. Let's go 33 divided by 97. Yep, 34%, 0.34. So we want to take that then and go 114 divided by 0.34. And we get 335.2 something, but it says round to the nearest whole number. So I'm going to then punch in 335. So I'm using proportional relationships to help me identify what data is used to help us calculate like the whole. Okay, So we are expecting that there's about 335 squirrels in that whole area based on the representative sample that we collected earlier. So what we're going to do with this later on is we're going to create a project for you guys to do for our test. Instead of a test, we're going to do a project where you guys are going to collect some data, and you're going to use that data to help you answer some questions. You're going to graph it and stuff like that. Okay, so you're going to use proportional relationships to help you with all this. So that's why we got some proportion questions in here as well. All right. Let's get this done by Thursday, because Thursday we will have our next lesson, which will be on comparing, and we're going to talk about the project after spring break. All right. Make sure everybody has our test. Our circles test needs to be done by this week sometime. Okay, so make sure those are getting done as well. Let me know if you have any questions. Email me, and I will get back with you as soon as I can. Alrighty, everybody have a great day.